Hello, church. The title of today's devotional is called Attention, Please. I think one of the hardest things we have with evangelizing, with telling people the good news of Jesus Christ, is we are all so busy and wrapped up in our own self-absorbed worlds of time and money and careers and things to do, and that we lose track of the fact of one very important thing, and that simply is that time is not infinite. So I think one of the ways to approach talking to people about salvation is the fact that we need to use time to our advantage. And the fact is, no amount of money, there's no law, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee I will be alive to finish this devotional. That's the way it is. It's valuable. Time is very valuable. I always tell people, if they don't know what to get me for a gift, I always say time spent, because it's a tremendous value to all of us today, isn't it? So let's get into it. Time is not infinite. For humans, time is a limited gift from God. We don't typically know how much time we have left here on earth, but we do know at some point our time is going to be up and we're going to be moving on. So we can't act like we've got all the time in the world to do what we're doing. That's why Jesus had such a sense of urgency. That's why he was always on the move. He always made evangelism, spreading the good news. That was his mission. He was focused on it. He did not allow himself to come off mission for any reason. That's what he did. That was his purpose. It should be ours. I don't mean that to sound radical, but the point is, we've got to get people to understand, just because you're 20 years old doesn't mean you're going to outlive me. Just because you're in good health and you run 5K races and you go for hikes every weekend doesn't mean you're going to outlive me. There is no guarantee. There just is no guarantee. And so let's look at some scripture. Psalm 39, 4 and 5 reminds us of this. Lord, let me know my end and what is the measure of my days. Let me know how fleeting my life is. You have made my days a few handbreadths, and my lifetime is as nothing in your sight. It's like a mist. We're here and we're gone. 3 generations from now, no one will know anything about us, unless you did something good or bad to get yourself in a history book somewhere. So because of this, time is valuable. It's one of the most valuable things we have here. And Psalm 90:12 says, so teach us to count our days that we may gain a wise heart. In other words, our time is so short and valuable that we should be aware of how few days we have and use them to gain wisdom in our spiritual lives. And that's what I try and do when I talk to people about, do you know where you're going after you die? Because there is no guarantee. I try and get people to see the urgency of the fact that the healthiest, most fittest person alive could get hit on the head by a meteorite and die. It happens. Many young people die, and many old people, when we look at them, it's like, how is that person still here? There's no logic to this. God has his own timetable. So we need this sense of urgency to show. We need to show that we have a sense of urgency about this. It's not lackadaisical. It's not like, well, I know something that would change your life and make it better, but I don't know, maybe one of these days I'll get around to tell you about it. No, I don't know if I'm going to have one of those days to come around, so I can't tell you about it. I need to tell you about it now. That's a fact. Okay, so if we can see to it that people understand this, that's half the battle. Time needs to be used intentionally. And I wake up in the morning and try and use time intentionally when it comes to any church matters, because I just don't know if I'll be able to complete today's tasks. It's that simple. And just saying to yourself, well, I got this, nothing's going to happen to me, that's just pure arrogance. Absolute pure arrogance and pride. It's silly. So if you want to get people's attention, you got to get them to understand that time is not, you can't really buy it. You can't buy time, you can't buy health. You might think you can, and then maybe the richest of us can prolong a life, but what will the quality be like, and is it even worth doing? You know, having health to enjoy what it is that we do, having vigor, having the ability to have enthusiasm and a joy about us as we go about our tasks for the Lord and for our families. Even the things that we use for recreation. Without a quality of life, some of us don't want to be around for that. So there's more to life than existing, right? There's a lot of living that needs to be done. So I'm trying to explain to you that if you've got people in your family that don't know Jesus, don't wait. If you hardly talk to them now and you tell them about this, what's the worst that's going to happen? They're not going to talk to you after you tell them about this? I'm not saying you hit them over the head with it. Again, you need to start a dialogue. You need to come up with an intentional plan. How am I going to do this? How can I explain this to people in a nice, coherent way to get them to understand the urgency and the valuable commodity that we call time? It's so precious, and so is salvation. So that's one of the tactics I use when I start addressing the idea of salvation, is that be careful how you live, because life comes at you fast. And what is your situation with God right now? I love you, church. Have a good day.